In our last conversation, we talked about the graveyard of hobbies, the place where abandoned interests quietly pile up. We explored the neuroscience of quitting, and we laid out a plan to build that mental muscle that allows you to push through when things get hard. But for some of you, after that conversation ended, a different problem began to surface, a stranger one, a more confusing one. What if sticking with things is not your issue? What if you are not afraid of effort, not avoiding difficulty? What if the real problem is that you have too many things you want to commit to? You look at your life and you don't see a single path. You see a dozen. Every option feels meaningful. Every direction reflects a real part of who you are. And because of that, you freeze, not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because too many futures are calling your name at the same time. This is the classic dilemma of the scanner personality, and it's perfectly captured by a sentence that sounds simple, but carries a heavy weight. I could do anything, if I only knew what it was. Society has a word for people like you. They call you a dilettante, someone who knows a little about many things, but is deeply skilled in none. A jack of all trades, master of none. And the anxiety that comes with that label is real. It creeps in late at night, when you look at your resume and notice how uneven it feels. It shows up when you compare yourself to people who seem to have chosen one path early and never looked back. You begin to wonder, is my curiosity, the thing I once loved most about myself, actually my biggest career weakness? Today, we're going to dismantle that anxiety. Not with shallow motivation, but by redrawing the entire mental map of what a career can look like. And more importantly, by offering a path designed for people who were never meant to be just one thing. To understand this, we need to look at the world in which most career advice was created. For much of the last century, society celebrated specialists. The world was relatively stable, almost like a chessboard. The rules were clear, feedback was immediate, and success came from going very deep into one narrow field. Psychologists call this a kind learning environment. It rewards repetition. It favors mastery through consistency. This is the world of the I-shaped person, someone with one deep, vertical pillar of expertise. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is that still the world we live in? The modern world is a wicked learning environment. The rules change constantly. Feedback is delayed or unclear. Patterns only become visible in hindsight. Think about the difference between a golfer and a firefighter. A golfer operates in a kind environment. The rules never change, and feedback is immediate. A firefighter does not. Every situation is new. The rules are uncertain. Experience helps, but it can also fail. In a world like this, hyper-specialization can create blind spots. To be clear, specialists are essential. Their depth of knowledge is incredibly valuable. The problem is not specialization itself. The problem arises when specialization is treated as the only valid path, and every mind is judged by the same standard. When that happens, people like you begin to feel like failures, when in reality, your brain is simply designed for a different kind of world. To build a career that actually fits your brain, you need to stop thinking in job titles and start thinking in shapes. The I shape represents the specialist. At the opposite extreme is the dash shape, wide but shallow. Knowing a little about everything, but standing on no solid ground. That shape creates anxiety, because without depth, you feel unstable. But there is another shape, a more powerful one. One that fits curious, multi-passionate minds. The shaped professional, the modern polymath. Imagine it like this. One pillar of your M is data science. You go deep enough there to earn stability. A second pillar is storytelling. You develop real depth there as well. The horizontal connection between them is your interest in psychology, history, and design. Suddenly, you're not a distracted data scientist. You're the person who can turn complex data into a narrative that decision makers actually understand. That combination is rare. And because it's rare, it's valuable. Specialists rely on near transfer, applying skills to very similar problems. Polymaths rely on far transfer. They recognize underlying structures. They see patterns beneath the surface. They apply insights from one domain to a completely different one. They hear the music, not just the notes. And all those seemingly random interests you've collected over the years, they form the library of metaphors that makes this kind of insight possible. The first strategy is serial mastery. You cannot build every pillar at the same time. That only leads back to shallow breadth. Instead, choose one pillar for this season. 6 months, a year, maybe 18 months. You are not choosing for the rest of your life. You are choosing for now. When you reach fluency, not perfection, but competence, you make a conscious transition, not quitting out of frustration, but graduating. A good enough job that provides stability without draining your mental energy can be a strategic asset. It gives you surplus cognitive space, the most valuable resource you have. Space you can invest in building your other pillars. Not every job needs to be your ultimate passion. Sometimes its role is simply to keep you steady. Your mind generates more ideas than it can hold. Your working memory is small. Without an external system, overwhelm is inevitable. Capture your ideas. Store your fascinations. Let a system hold them for you. So when curiosity fades, you can let go without guilt. And when the moment is right, those connections can reappear. You are not undisciplined. You are not a dabbler. You are a scanner, a bridge between worlds of knowledge. Once you have a map, the self-blame begins to dissolve. In its place comes a quiet confidence, the sense that you are moving forward in the right way for you. If this resonates, you don't need to change who you are. You only need to change how you build your life. Pick one pillar, just one, for this season. The rest will connect in time. And if this gave you a moment of clarity, even a small one, you're welcome to return to it whenever you need. Not out of obligation, but because sometimes understanding yourself correctly is the most important first step.